Have you ever wondered how real estate agents get paid or how commissions work? I get this question all the time, especially since the structure of agent compensation changed significantly in the summer of 2024 due to a lawsuit settlement. These changes impact both buyers and sellers, which is why it is critical to understand how agent commissions work, because ultimately that money is coming from your pocket. Before 2024 and the changes, the process was pretty simple. A seller, and this is the old scenario over here, the seller and their agent would negotiate a total commission, which would then be typically split equally between the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. So for example, if the seller and the seller's agent agree upon a 3% total commission, 1.5 would be offered to the seller's agent and 1.5 given to the buyer's agent. The system was relatively straightforward. Sellers knew exactly how much they would be paying to each agent. Now, while these commission percentages have always been very negotiable and they vary based on the work involved, the process itself was pretty straightforward and transparent. Now, after 2024, things changed. Now, the same thing is occurring here, where sellers and their agents are meeting and having the same agreement. However, now buyers and their agents must now also agree on the agent's compensation before ever looking at homes together. This introduces a new layer of complexity when making an offer and reviewing offers. Now let me show you what this would look like in real practice and why it gets a little complicated. Now this is just a rough example of what it kind of looks like sometimes. Let's say seller Susie decides to list her home for $500,000 with me, Agent Bree, just for the sake of this example. Seller Susie and I agree on a 3% total commission, meaning 1.5 would go to Agent Bree, myself, and 1.5 would go to the buyer's agent. Now, where things get tricky is a hypothetical buyer and buyer's agent are behind the scenes, and before they start looking at properties together, they agree upon their own commission that the buyer's agent shall receive. So in this example, buyer and buyer's agent agree upon a 2.5% commission that would be paid strictly to the buyer's agent. Now, let's say that the same buyer and buyer's agent, they had their agreement and they went to look at seller Susie's property. And they fell in love, and the buyer decides, I want to write a full price offer for the list price of $500,000. And what typically happens next is the buyer's agent calls me, Agent Bree, and asks, is the seller offering any concessions or commission to the buyer's agent? And I will respond, in this example, yes, the seller's offering 1.5% to the buyer's agent. And we get off the phone, and now is where things get a little bit tricky, because the buyer and their agent agreed that the buyer's agent would be receiving a 2.5% commission, and seller Susie's only offering 1.5. So 2.5 minus 1.5 is 1%. A 1% gap that still needs to be owed. And 1% on a purchase price of $500,000 is $5,000, which is a lot of money that somebody has to pay. Now there are three possible outcomes. The buyer can decide to pay that, the extra 1% or $5,000. The seller can agree to pay it, or it could be a combination of both. What I often see happening, and in my experience, is buyer's agents often write the full 2.5% commission into their offer. Now, what that offer would look like is the buyer and their agents would be writing it for what they agreed upon, the $500,000. But instead of asking for the 1.5 that was originally going to be offered, they put in 2.5. Now, when seller Susie and I review offers together, and we are looking at this particular one, seller Susie is now being asked to pay an extra $5,000 to the buyer's agent on top of what she was already expecting to pay, which was 1.5 or $7,500. And now she is being asked to pay $12,500 to the buyer's agent. Now, this might be the best offer. However, sometimes there are situations where we get multiple offers. And if seller Susie receives the exact same offer except a lower commission price asked to be provided, she's going to accept that one. So this is important for buyers to understand, because what commission is being put in that line and asked of the sellers to be paid changes how your offer looks to the seller. And if you're really trying to get a property that you like, you will want to pay the highest list price and the lowest commission. Now, from a seller's standpoint here, when I receive multiple offers, I always create a spreadsheet that clearly outlines the details of each of the offers and creates a side-by-side comparison. I describe how much the seller will net from each of the offers after subtracting out the commissions, transaction fees, title costs, and any other expenses that we know of. I will outline the key details of the property, such as if the offer is contingent upon financing, inspection, or the buyer selling their home. This helps sellers create a clear, informed decision, especially when emotions are running high and we're all very excited about having multiple offers on their property. The goal is to ensure they walk away with the best deal possible and fully aware of what they will be paying. Understanding real estate commissions is more important than ever. The new rules are meant to create this transparency, but in practice, many buyers and sellers don't fully grasp how the commissions are structured. My job is always to help sellers and buyers see the full picture, avoid any surprises, and make sure that they are making the best financial decision possible.